Today's best music.
Magic 89.9.
All right, everybody, welcome to the chat room. Good afternoon to everybody listening on Magic 89.9, whether you're on the road or working from home. And for those who are listening or watching us on Facebook and on Twitch through our Magic 89.9 website, and of course through the Kumu app. I am your host. My name is Boom Gonzalez. We do this every week. And this week is very special because we waited far too long to have her on the show, and she was thinking of backing out 4 minutes before we went on the air. From CNN Philippines, the host of The Source, Miss Pinky Webb, is with us. Hello, Pinky.
Hi, Boo.
No backing out now.
Yup. I'm just sweating.
I noticed. It is so, I don't know if I should be flattered or I don't know if I should take it negatively that you are actually nervous about this, not interview, but this conversation and chat that we're going to have.
I don't think it has anything to do with you. I think it has just something to do with me not being used to being interviewed. So I'm at the other end of I'm at the other end of the table or the chair right now.
Yes.
So I'm not used to this. I'm used to asking you the question.
Well, you
now
can.
You're gonna ask me the question.
Well, like I told you when I called you a month ago, you can ask me anything. Okay, let me just set the baseline for our listeners and all our viewers on Facebook, just so they understand where we are coming from here. So me and Pinky are not actually friends. You know, I've had friends on the show. I've had people on the show that I'm talking to the first time. There are a couple of them. Just two. One is my producer right now. and some have been friends, some have been strangers to me. Pinky and I know each other, but we're not like I said, we're not in the same circle. We're not friends. So I find it interesting to do this because when I called her probably more than a month ago, and probably that's the first time in 10 years that we've spoken.
That's true.
Right? I told her, I'm not going to research on you. I'm not going to do that. I watch you often anyway. And we're going to approach this like we saw each other in a bar and we know each other well enough to sit by each other.
Yes.
And to probably small talk our way through the first 10, 15 minutes and see where the conversation goes. So that was kind of like the setting that I wanted, at least for our conversation. That's why I said, you don't have to worry. I know you were nervous because it's your first time and because we are having a little bit of a drink.
I'll
Cheers,
get over
Pinky.
it. Don't worry. Cheers.
Cheers. So we're in a bar setting, basically.
Yeah.
So what's Pinky Webb's poison of choice during whether it's this afternoon or generally?
It's just white wine.
It's white wine.
Yeah.
Even when you're out, is that like something that you?
It depends. I switch. I do wine, or I can do scotch, or I can do beer, or I can do gin and tonic. I'm pretty
Flexible.
I'm pretty okay with the drinks section.
And speaking of drinks, you just celebrated a birthday.
I did, yeah.
That was like a week ago, correct? Happy birthday, Pinky.
Was it a week? 2 weeks ago.
Was it 2 weeks
ago? My birthday was 2 weeks ago. Yeah, I actually turned 50.
See,
Imagine?
I was, at least it didn't come from me, but I was going to say, because they say it's rude when it's a guy who says it, but you announced it on your Instagram, and I felt like you were lying to the whole world. I mean, how can you be 50, Pinky? There's no way you can look like that at 50. Life must be so good at 50 then.
Or makeup is good at 50. It's either that or the lighting is good at 50.
I don't think so.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see the reason why I wouldn't say I'm 50 or I'm 30 or I'm 45. I don't get it. I don't see why I wouldn't even talk about. I mean, it came so naturally. I didn't even think about it, basically.
Okay. Right.
Yeah, so I said something like, I think this is 50 or something like that.
Right.
But the funny thing is, way back when my aunts, when I was younger, My mom's sisters, they were all beautiful, my mom included. I remember I was young, maybe, I don't know, 15 or 13, and I would ask them how old my aunts were, and they would say 40, and I was like, wow, that's so old.
Yeah, I guess
And then
so.
now I'm
I guess
50. So yeah,
so. At when you are at where you are right now, are you content? Are you still as driven as ever? Are you still trying to achieve more, or are you just steady and chill and you're rolling with the punches?
I'm all.
Oh,
I'm
really?
steady and chill. I'm rolling with the punches. I have some goals. I
Mm-hmm.
have some, there's a part of me. I think this has been happening for quite a while. That's kind of looking for something else to do in terms of doing something good for the people
For
or
others?
the country. Yeah.
Right, right.
I'm still trying to find out where or what direction I'm supposed to take. But I guess it's a little bit of, I'm looking for some sort of fulfillment in another
Right.
aspect. Yeah.
All right. Not that you are not serving your country with what you're doing. I mean, this is service to the country, but I know what you're saying. You're wanting to do it in another capacity or another way, and you still haven't found that which is authentic to you. Is that what it is? That like that
Yeah.
because you don't want to just keep doing just for the sake of because somebody else is doing it or whatever.
Yes.
You want to find
Yes.
something that's true to you.
Yeah, that almost comes naturally. That I still pray a lot that I'll be taken to the right direction and go where I'm supposed to go. If it means um, helping other people um, in one way or another,
Hmm.
that's where I want to go. It's almost like I kind of wanna do something. It's not substantial, but substantial to me to be able to
Right.
help
Yeah.
other people. Yeah.
Something that will fill your heart, I guess, to be, your own personal, right?
Yeah. That's
Something like
it.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
And your
Right. Okay.
soul.
Yes, exactly.
Hmm.
Other than just work, work. Okay, I get that.
True.
For those who are listening on in their cars and the radio or not watching us, we're talking to Pinky Webb from CNN Philippines, the host of The Source. And we welcome also all our viewers on the Kumu app, on Twitch, and on Facebook Live. Why were you nervous? Is it strange being interviewed? And when was the last time you were interviewed anyway?
I thought about that before we went on air. I don't even remember the last time I was interviewed. In
Like a
fact, yeah, go ahead.
No, I mean for a personality profile interview, even for like a school thing. You know how students sometimes invite
Oh, yeah.
broadcasters. It hasn't
Yeah.
happened in a while.
I guess about work, it's happened, but on a personal basis, it's been a while. I don't
Mm,
even remember the last time, but
mm.
my memory's pretty bad, so I wouldn't really rely on that too much. I don't
No,
even remember my guest last week.
well, I kind of remind you every now and then when I message you. Sometimes I,
Yeah.
I laugh at some of what happened. Are you sick of this whole Zoom, Skype, video thing already? I say that not for anything, but because you've been doing this for so many years, and there's really obviously a difference with the person-to-person component interview. I would think so that I've gotten used to it a little bit, but it's so different when a person's in front of you, seeing those mannerisms in person, and just seeing the reaction. You can look at the eyes and see if you're asking the right questions and all of this. Is it something that you would want to get rid of already, or this is okay with you? She's, by the
This
way,
is
where she
okay.
is when she
This
does
is
the
where I
source. This is
broadcast.
exactly her spot. Yeah.
Yeah, this is the only spot I can use actually.
Really? Because of
Yeah,
your
because
lighting.
no, because the other one's the door somewhere
Mm,
there. Here, is
mm,
it right? Here is towards the door,
mm.
and the rest are just a lot of white paint.
Okay.
So I don't really want a white background.
Right,
So I mean, too much white.
right.
So yeah, so this is my spot. It's been my spot for April, May, June, 3.5 months.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
what about this whole video format thing, because it's been hard also sometimes. I mean, I see you struggle. I struggle with some of sometimes we can't control Wi-Fi connection and all of these things, right?
Well, I'm used to it. It is true that obviously there's a lot. You miss the person-to-person interview. You miss seeing that person. You miss having that eye contact. You also kind of are able to tell through the person's eyes or the body language if he's telling you, the truth or just giving you the runaround. So that I miss because I don't see that on my camera here.
Right.
And there's
I'm telling the truth, by the way, just in case you're wondering. I always tell you.
You look like you're telling the truth.
Thank you.
No, and what was I saying? See, my memory's so bad.
Oh, I'm sorry, my bad.
No,
Yeah, you're
no.
looking at the eyes of your interviewee. You can't see him.
Oh, and there's a delay. In fact, some people sometimes they say that in Tagalog nagsasapawan kami. But that's not meant and that's not intentional because after I finish a question, the other person probably, it takes another 3 seconds before he actually hears the last part of the last word that I said. So every time we have a guest and we do our audio and video check, I always remind them, like today, General, there's a 3-second delay, so don't worry if there's dead air. Because of the delay. So let's just be patient about that. I always tell them that. So yeah, but sometimes some of the viewers don't kind of get that. And they think that nag-overlap kayo. But well, that's the downside of having to, do this work from home.
Right. And sometimes really it's a technology thing. I mean, it's a Wi-Fi connection problem also sometimes on the part of maybe your interviewee cannot be helped every now and then.
In fact, you will realize how so many of our officials have really bad internet because, like, presidential spokesperson Harry Roque.
Oh yeah, Harry Roque. Yeah, my Lord.
He'll freeze on air. And
he became a meme, Pinky, after that because of that frozen thing.
Secretary Roque?
Right, yeah. I don't know if you thought on.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, that happens. So, and a lot of other officials. In fact, I had an interview very recently and I said, sir, baka gusto niyo nakausapin ng DICT about your internet issues. Kasi, these are officials of the country and they have to have good internet. But a lot of them don't. So that's one part that's obvious that needs to be improved.
This morning, it kind of happened to you this morning. There were a lot of lags from the side of your interviewer. And
who was that, Boom?
Disappearing. You were no wait, look, you were talking to was it a PNP official?
Yeah. Yes.
See, are you trying to test me? Is that what it is?
I was.
You're trying to test me now.
Who was the one before the PNP official?
Yeah, the other one. Yeah, because you had 2 before the PNP. I just woke up, Pinky. Give me a break.
It's the AFP official and the PNP official.
There you go.
The spokesperson.
And the AFP official had a worse, internet connection than the PNP official. If I was not.
No, actually, the PNP we had to resort to phone patch because he was the internet was bad, so we had to do a phone interview instead. Do you remember the story?
It was a miss. What is the official term? A miss. Is it a miss
encounter?
A miss encounter, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, let me write that down for my future exam with Professor Pinky Webb. I love it. She's testing me. How about dealing with stuff like, let's say, the Secretary Panelo interviewer, or something like that. The phone just is put down, or maybe if it's live, has anybody walked out on you or anything like that? If it's live, just gave up on you.
Live? I don't remember anyone walking out on me. I don't remember. Okay. But if they did, I would have to reassess that real quick. Was I, did I Was it too much? Did I
Was it
ask?
you?
Was it me? Did I go? I guess it's hard to imagine something like that because it hasn't happened. When that actually happens, you don't know how you're going to react, but definitely you're going to have to just say that he walked out. Let's continue on with the newscast or the conversation because you don't have a choice.
Yeah, regardless of how veteran you are, these things, you're never prepared for it.
Yeah, it's never happened though. And wow, I don't want it to happen because, well, that's big if somebody walks out on you, right?
So the whole when Mr. Panelo disappeared, what were you thinking? What was your thought process after that?
Oh, you know what? I was too busy trying to get answers from him that I didn't really think about it too much.
Okay,
I think it's fair to say that. I didn't think that, did he just put down the phone on me or was the line cut? It was probably, if I did think about it, it was so split second, but my thinking that time was, wait a minute, what's going to happen to us? I think that was the time that we were going to go under lockdown, if I'm not mistaken. So there were so many questions in my head. It didn't matter if he put the phone down or not. I just wanted to ask him, when is the president speaking? What time is he speaking? Because even on Twitter, I'm not very active, but I read a lot and they keep saying, anong oras magsasalita si Pangulo? So those are the questions I want to ask the presidential spokesperson back then. And he was quite evasive. So I kept asking. He said, sinabi ko na ngang mamaya eh. I think he said something like that. And then I said, soon. Sabi niya ata, soon. Sabi ko, yeah, but soon is relative. It's true. What's soon for you is probably not soon for me and 1,000 other people. So tell me what soon is, right? And then the line got cut or he put the phone down. So I just said, I lost Secretary Panelo on the line because that's the truth.
Connection problems. That you always say, okay, can I make a personal observation?
Sure.
May I? Give me the, we're talking to Pinky Webb for those who are listening on radio, whether you're on the road or you're working from home and are not watching us live on Facebook. Yes, we are live. I think I'm not alone in thinking or saying or observing. Look at your smile. Are you a little nervous with what I'm going to say?
A little bit. It's okay.
You're about to sip from your white wine. Pinawisan. No, I was going to say that you generally give off this impression, this vibe that you're composed. You're always, you're up to the task. You don't panic, even when. I mean, from a broadcaster standpoint, I look at you and I watch you. I don't just watch you. Sometimes I don't absorb the story always all the time. But there are times that I just try to observe how you interview from one interviewer to another and see you don't have any distracting mannerisms, whether it's mastications or facial expressions or whatever. And I mean that obviously in a very positive way. You don't have distracting arms or hand gestures, which I have a lot of, and I've been trying to correct for so many. Okay. That's the reason why I hold a pen. It's to remind me about my hand. It really is. Yeah. It's
How does it remind you?
It just makes me conscious that I'm holding something, and it brings me back to my plan of why I brought a pen. So I don't have to hey, because I'm a big talker, especially on radio. When you're on radio, it's hey, or on sports, whatever, you get into it. But when it's a different kind of interviewee, people like you, people like Secretary Berna, I kind of want to be a little more professional. And I'm not saying that the ball pen makes me professional, but it kind of it reminds me of certain things that I don't have or should be doing. And that's what I observe about you. You're very composed. You don't have all of these, even from a speech standpoint. When you shift from Tagalog to English and back, you just don't have mannerisms that are distracting, habits that are distracting. And what I've noticed all these years, Pinky, I know it's your birthday 2 weeks ago, so I'm trying to give you some love here.
Bring it on.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, please. Is that you've stuck to your guns in terms of your style, even as you have shifted networks. And people may have forgotten that, Pinky, that you have, you've traveled from network to network and media organization to media organization. What say you?
What?
What
did you
say
just
you?
say?
I said, what say you? What do you have to say from what I just said?
I see. That's the first time I heard that. Bago ba yan?
Really?
Is that for
No,
younger people? What say you?
Oh, that's an old
Parang, really?
expression. Yeah.
Wow.
No, something
Okay. I'm
you
so
can
out.
jot down from
No,
me
it's here. It's
today.
here. I got
Okay,
it. I got it.
Thank you.
What say you? So I got confused. What's your
So
question?
what do you think about my impression? Is that correct? Were you ever conscious about it because you shifted to different more media organizations, networks, but you stayed with your style, stayed with your intonation, you stayed with the way you delivered the news or did your interviews? That's my personal observation.
I think that I was with ABS for 17 years, I think.
And that's where we met, yeah.
And yeah,
Right.
but you were in the evening newscast.
Well, I was
at,
all over the place.
yeah, but on ANC you were at 9:30 or 10
Afternoon and
o'clock,
evening.
right?
Yeah, I did an
Yeah.
afternoon show and then I did an evening show also
That's right.
with Ginger and then with Sestrilon and then I have my own show
Right.
for the sports stuff. Yeah. But yeah, enough about me. So yeah, 17 years.
17 years and then 4 years with CNN. I think that my style changed a little bit, I think, because I think I was more, maybe I enunciated more in ABS because there's a little bit of a style that,
There is.
yeah, it's not that I copy it. You kind of start to speak that way, I guess, in a way.
Because you're exposed to it every day.
Yeah, because that's how your co-anchors speak as well. So when I moved to CNN Philippines, we're solo anchors. We don't have co-anchors with us. So if you notice the shows, it's always a one-man show.
Right.
And I realized that I was, I guess I enunciated less and less, basta, I can't say it. Otherwise, I'll have to do it. So I don't want to do it, more
I would love to hear that.
More relaxed.
Okay.
So, because I was anchoring TV Patrol. So, TV Patrol has a little bit of a style. It's not that they tell you to copy that style. No, not at all. You're free to do your own style. But yeah, I kind of got, not influenced even, but yeah, because you're working with, the same people, you kind of start talking or doing the newscast the same way as them. Now, I realize that I'm, more relaxed. And I feel like when I do a newscast, I want it to seem like I'm actually really talking to you. I'm not, not that I shouted before. Maybe I did, not that I'm not shouting, or I want it to be so relaxed and so, that you would watch. That it would be easy for you to watch me, basically. Yeah. So yeah, there was a shift. I would think so.
And even before ABS, weren't you part of, correct me if I'm wrong, was it TV5 or Channel 5 back then? Am I correct?
I was.
You
actually,
were, right?
yeah.
See,
ABC 5.
ABC 5, that's right. See,
yeah,
I've been a fan.
That was maybe 2 years only, and then I had to take a leave of absence for a year or two, and then that's when I applied in SNN, the Saturday Manok News Network that eventually became ANC.
ANC, correct.
Yeah.
Wow,
that's what happened.
So
how long have you been on radio?
Radio, I was in college. I started in 95. Would you believe that? I don't know if there's anybody actually on radio longer than I am. Technically,
really?
Yeah.
And don't look it.
And thank you, Pinky. It's the natural light probably, and
something we both have right now.
Okay. Yeah. And I only took a 6-month break. That's pretty much it. And then I've been on TV since. I've been doing sports since 2000 or 99 pa nga yata. Yeah. Baby.
Okay,
I'm still doing my thesis.
What got you into radio? You were
Oh,
pretty young in
when I
1995.
when I was in high school, and this is a strange story. When I was in high school, I was already DJing in bars, and I wasn't
Okay.
even allowed to be in bars. But I was DJing in bars because music was always my thing. I mean, I'll always say I'm a radio broadcaster first in TV. It really is. I mean, not
Yeah.
just chronologically, but I think in my heart, that really is, I think, what I feel. And so I was in bars just DJing.
Yeah.
And what happened was I would talk in certain nights when they needed somebody to talk, and then somebody asked me to go for a student DJ program when I was still early in college, and then I tried it, I submitted, and then I got the student DJ program, and then I was a student DJ for a long time, and then eventually I became a DJ. I was still in college, probably sleeping through my first few classes because I was on graveyard at 2
That
a.m.
was
to
tough.
6 a.m.
Yeah.
It's tough, and I also needed to work. The truth was, I did it when somebody asked me why did I start so early. I said it was part passion, it was part necessity. I needed to work. I needed to pay for my schooling also. So
Wow.
it was kind of hard times back in the day. So that was really the necessity to find work. So I was doing radio and then doing the bar circuit just so I could get money for college. Basically, that's the story.
And that was like 25 years ago.
Yeah, pretty much 95. Yeah. So I'm still
Very
here.
good.
I don't know if this will be my last show after this interview, but we'll see. It's funny I say that because when Pinky and I talked probably more than a month ago about this whole interview thing, and I hope I didn't strike you like a pesky mosquito that you just needed to swat away, messaging you every week. Oh, is this the week? Is this the week? Is this the week that I'm gonna have you? I was said earlier for all our listeners right now. Um, I haven't talked to you in a long, long time, and I saw that your number was still on my phone. I just took a chance. Remember the text? I took a chance. I said, "Is this still your number?" Yada yada yada. And when I called her, I said, "You know, Pinky, I know it's not scares you, but it's a weird proposal to be on my show and to be interviewed." And halfway through the conversation, she still wasn't sold. Halfway through the conversation, she was okay. You're slowly convincing me, and I wanted to say that I was already being nervous of whether okay, I am just pestering this woman right now, and then you finally said yes. I mean, what made you say yes to something like this?
Ooh, that's a tough one. I guess because when we had that conversation, it was a nice conversation. It's different, I guess, from what I'm doing every day. And it was nice to talk to you again.
It's good to talk to you. Yeah.
And then I don't really like talking about myself, I guess. That's my biggest my biggest worry. I don't like that. Um and you know what? I think what really made me want to do it was because I bug people all the time to come to my show, to be a guest on my show.
Na-guilty ka, ganon?
In a way, because I feel like it's so unfair. Here I am, you're calling people, sometimes even, quite honestly, sometimes the night before, because you don't have a guest the next day.
For sure. For you, I'm sure, yeah.
And you say, please, please. And then here's Boom, who just wanted to do a catch up. It should be very easy. It's just an hour. And I was saying,
just an hour. I love that you said that because the fact that it was an hour scared you.
Because remember, it's 2:30. We only have 30 minutes left.
Oh, bilis,
so
diba?
I said, yeah. So I think it's just to be fair. I'm doing it. I'm asking people to guest on my show. Somebody asked me. It's been so long, and it should have been very easy for me to say yes. But then, yeah, a lot of things happened in the weeks prior to today.
No, of course.
So I remember when you called me, when you texted me, and I said, okay, let's do it this Tuesday, right?
And then something came up.
Yeah. So it's just really being fair.
I appreciate that. I really appreciate that. I wasn't trying to make. If you look back at all our messages, I never tried to make you feel guilty. I don't have the right to make you feel guilty. Come on, you're
No,
doing
no,
all of
no.
these things, this work, but I appreciate the thought process behind it. I really do. And I
Yeah.
remember what I told you. I said, Pinky, this can be incredibly exciting and fun or horrible. Horrible
Yeah.
because we haven't talked to each other in a long time. And again, I want to tell listeners and viewers out there who are just tuning in right now, just watching us, or just tuning in on radio. We're talking to Pinky Webb, the Source host on CNN Philippines, and I was a little bit worried that this might go south. That okay, I promised her that it's gonna be fun, but also I didn't know. I was trying to sell the idea, but I also wasn't super confident because again, it's been a long time since we've
Right.
been in the same room, or whether it's a makeup room or a newsroom or in a social gathering. We only were out. I don't know if you remember, we were only out in a social gathering twice. One was, I think it was Ginger Conejero's birthday, if I'm not mistaken. That was a fun night, I remember,
Where
with
was
all of
that?
you guys. I forgot where. I think that's why I have your number. I think it was because we had fun as a group that night. And the other night was we were in a hotel, and I think it was a trade event for ABS-CBN. You know how we have those trade
Yeah.
events for
Yeah.
ABS-CBN, and we were drinking. Also, we saw each other, and it was a moment that. Do you remember this? Let me see if I know you say you have a bad memory, but it's not a test. But do
Okay.
you remember that we almost worked with each other?
No.
No. Okay. So
How?
this
When?
this
Where?
see. So I know, right? How am I
No,
supposed to be?
No, no, no. Seriously, I don't remember. What was the show
Okay.
supposed to
So
be?
we were obviously we were both. You were with ABS-CBN Channel 2 and ANC also. I was with ANC and ABS-CBN Sports, but we
Right.
always we were part of ANC, and that's a commonality. And the original mornings at ANC. Do you remember it being offered to you?
Yeah, I
I
did
think
it.
it was Maria Ressa pa yata, our boss at the time, if I'm not mistaken.
No, but I eventually did mornings at
Right.
ANC.
Exactly. So it was offered, right? And I was asked also by Maria to join the
I
original.
see.
I think it was supposed to be Ron, you, Nina, and
Ginger.
myself. And I don't know if Ginger was supposed to be part of it, but yeah. So, but I was doing morning radio at that time, and I loved my
And
morning
you
radio.
had to say no.
No, it was a tough choice. It was because here I am now, like deep into my ANC work with the sports stuff and the pop culture stuff, and then now I'm going to do a morning show. But I also loved my radio show at that time, and I don't think people understood that also. And
Yeah.
so anyway, back to the story. We saw each other
Wait,
in the
sorry, I
street.
need to cut you.
Yeah, why?
Was this like a 6 a.m. show?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it was.
yeah. I
Yeah,
didn't
it
do
was.
that either. Yeah. Okay.
Okay. So you didn't do the 6 a.m. one.
No, no, no.
That's the
Mornings at
one.
ANC eventually moved to 9 a.m. That's the
Yeah,
one I did.
the original one I think was earlier. The original concept was like, the
Okay.
old morning. So we saw each other in the trade event or whatever event that was. You had your wine, I had my drink, and you were saying, "No, let's go. You should do it," and all that. You were saying, "Let's do the show." I don't forget about these things because Pinky, people like you, when you show enthusiasm about somebody like me who was probably what 2 years into my ANC stint at that time, if I'm not mistaken, maybe it stays with people like me. It makes a mark, and
Wow.
yeah, it does. So I wanna thank you for at least trying to encourage me because those
But it
things
didn't
really
work.
stay. No, it really made me think. It really made me think. But the radio thing that I was doing at that time, I was with RX at the time. I just loved radio. I loved morning radio at that time too. So I just couldn't get pulled away. So yeah, so that's cheers, muna, cheers. Happy
That's
birthday. We're
big,
talking.
huh?
Thank you, Webb.
Cheers.
Cheers.
That's
What is
big,
big?
huh?
What is big?
Not to let go of radio to do TV. But you see, I get that. I know that
How?
there's a lot of people who really love the radio stint,
Format,
but
yeah.
even offered,
Right.
a TV show, they would still
Right.
choose radio. It's almost like what? Is it because you started there? Is it because there's so much loyalty to it? Is it because you just really have a lot of fun? What is it?
Maybe to some people it's a money issue also. Maybe, you know, what I mean.
But
I
wouldn't
think
TV pay you more?
that I think is the original thought process of some people. But I think it also depends on on certain things, certain things that
Such
maybe
as how long you've been there
been with
and
radio
yeah,
already and
yeah.
what kind of show you were doing already and you were
True.
established and whatever. So, but I also said no because I thought I could still do my radio and I was still doing ANC. I had two shows
Yeah.
at ANC. It became
Yeah.
free eventually. So, but I missed out on the chance to work with you, and that I think is the most unfortunate part of that. I could have
True.
learned so much other than just you encouraging me. I could have learned probably. Who was your mentor? Speaking of learning, who
Or
was
I could have
did
learned
you?
from you.
Oh
Wow,
well,
mentor, a lot.
did you ever have? Yeah, please tell us who.
Oof. In the beginning,
Mm-hmm.
it would be Tina Monzon Palma. It would be Jing Magsaysay. It
Ah,
would be um, uh, Kakiko
Pangilinan?
Evangelista.
Evangelista. That's right.
Yes,
Nga pala,
the
the
late.
pillars.
Yeah.
Uh,
Who else? Yeah, they were the ones who really, especially the time I was in ANC, maybe Jing
mm,
Magsaysay, really honed me because you were really left to do things on your own. I and you see, I didn't graduate mass comm. I graduated AB management. I can't write. I didn't know if I had a good voice. I didn't know how to
oh,
project. I didn't know anything, but I
I,
knew I
I,
wanted to do the news.
I relate. I relate. Mm,
Right?
I can relate.
A-
Yeah, I can relate.
And
I
then
can relate.
back in SNN, those times, audience was very, very small. We were on cable.
Right.
And we had to cover such things as the impeachment all of a sudden that actually started to have a lot of people watch us. And you were just there learning as you were actually newscasting.
Mm,
It was
mm.
almost that's how I learned.
On the
You
job.
really on the job training, basically. That's what happened there.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then there's a lot more. Then it became ANC, and then we moved to, well, yeah, ABS. So, ang dami. I look up to a lot of anchors, reporters that I've worked with.
What are
Orina
you still?
Sanchez as
Oh
well.
yeah, of course, yeah, yeah. Whom you also had on your show, The Source,
I did, yeah.
at one point. At one point, that was very interesting. Also, are you still learning something, a skill at this point of your career? Where
Yeah.
how many years has it been already? And what skill is that you're still trying to hone or learn?
Interview skills. I think that I still should
Mm,
improve on that. I think that asking the right question um, in a very concise manner
mm,
is still something I should improve on. Um, I should be able to interview people faster because um, people get bored. They get bored immediately. They get bored fast. So you have fast interviews. Get the answers as brief as possible. Also, and it
Nagpaparinig
should
ka, no, Pinky?
hindi. Hindi. Especially when you talk about national issues. Some people,
I know. I'm kidding. I'm
diba?
kidding.
So yeah, dapat mabilis para you keep their attention span on the
Right,
show.
right.
That's the
And with
challenge right now.
And with you, because some of the formats, you've done the long form interview formats, obviously, but you also have those short ones. So you really have to direct your interview as quickly as possible, as to the bullet points and the things that you really want to get out there, right? So it's a little different when it's a long form, like a podcast or a long interview, like what we're doing now. Although now it's not really an interview, but you know what I mean. You've had long
Yeah.
interviews, and then you've had these short bullet interviews,
Yeah.
and it's
Yeah.
very different. I see what you're trying to say.
Like, for example, are you having a hard time with this long interview? It's been like 39 minutes.
Why are you counting the time?
No, I'm just checking because I'm not used to
We
No,
can
are you
go
having
on-
a hard
We
time?
can go on and on and on. Do I look like I'm having a hard time? I am having a great time. Thank you, Webb.
What's the hardest part about your job?
Getting a guest, I guess.
But it's just once a week, for heaven's sake.
I know, right? I shouldn't be complaining.
There's so many interesting people out there. Okay.
Okay, all right.
Apart from that,
No, that's a legitimate question. I think, it's so amazing that I find out today that I'm getting so many things in common with you in terms of um, learning things, because that would be my answer too. I mean, I've interviewed a lot of personalities, both local and international, and in sports mostly. But there's always a skill to try to pick up, especially depending on the form of interview that you're trying to do. So, and you're adjusting to certain personalities, and
Yeah.
sometimes, diba, first
who
10
was
minutes.
your hardest
15 minutes.
interview?
Ooh. I think somebody that people know. I think it would have to be LeBron James, and that's the funny thing. Because,
Wow.
No, because I've interviewed him 3 times, but the
Wow.
first interview was great because he was super enthusiastic and all that. I think as the time goes by, these big stars and these big celebrities, and this is not a knock on them. This is just the reality. They tour all over the world to talk to thousands
True.
of media people, radio interviews, TV interviews, and I have to understand that about them. You feel like, oh, this is my moment, but to him, you're one of
Just
those.
one of them. Yeah.
And I'm not saying that in a bad way. Also, I hope not. He has to go on to 100 after, 100 other interviews after, especially in his stature. So I have to maximize my time, and I have to make it as interesting as possible. But there are also sometimes, some off limits in terms of what you can talk about and all that. So that can be very tough. Or in my early days of interviewing, when I would interview bands for my own
Why?
show, it's different personalities, and then some of them are not. They're not into
Not
you
very friendly.
when you don't have a name yet. That's also part of it. Sometimes they're not as receptive, or they're not as, but I also understand it. I don't
Yeah.
throw a tantrum. I always try to understand where they're coming from, because, I have to earn my wings also. You know what I mean? I have to earn my credibility when it comes to these things. And now in this form, it's about just what you said, sustaining that interest, and hopefully not boring the heck out of your subject or your interviewee. In this case, it is Pinky Webb from the source on CNN Philippines, for those listening on radio and not watching us, but for those watching on Facebook Live and on Kumu and on Twitch. Cheers. Happy birthday again.
And we don't go on a break?
No, we don't. This is straight.
Huh?
No,
Wow.
This is our break. We
I
toast.
see. Okay.
See, it's different, right? So it's okay to have dead air.
You kind of need to reset,
You or me?
Me. I guess that's me. You're used to this. No, but I'm okay. So anyway.
Yeah.
So that's the hard part, huh? Yeah, I get
Right.
that.
So our break is a drink, and it's fine. In this scenario, this is my responsibility now to keep it going, and I'm sure you know what that means, right?
Absolutely.
The news media, or news broadcasting in general, I feel is such a great field for women, because you know how some fields they're just dominated by men, and then there's some fields, and we all have these impressions already, and there should be more women, there should be more women bosses and all that, and I do not say that sarcastically at all. I'm just saying, again, going back to my point. See my hands are so.
Where's your ball pen?
It simply doesn't work sometimes. So what I'm saying is, for news media, sportscasting even, it's a great field for women, because there's so many out there, intelligent, capable, and is there some sort of discrimination in this field that I don't know of, Pinky?
No, I don't think
No,
so.
right?
Yeah, no.
No, right? I mean, you can ascend this ladder without having to encounter this whole, oh, you're not a man, right?
No, absolutely not. No, no, no. No such thing. Never even thought of that.
It's a great field to be in when you talk about like the whole equality thing, diba, when it comes to men and women. You see, the
Yeah,
fact that
yeah.
you don't even think about it, I think, is a great sign.
True, true. I agree. In fact, when you look at no, I don't know if it's fair to say that, but maybe reporters in CNN, I think they're dominated by women.
Mm,
Anchors, there are more female anchors.
right.
Yeah, yeah.
See,
In
so that's go ahead.
Yeah,
Sorry.
so I don't know why. It seems there are
Mm,
a lot more women than men in, I wouldn't say the news department, but at least now in CNN Philippines, there
right.
are more women. I'm not sure about ABS right now because there's a lot of new people who have come in since I left. So,
But
but
there's
when
still
you
a lot of women,
yeah, when
right?
you look at anchors, right, there are more women
Anchors, right?
than men in ABS as well.
Right.
So I don't know why it's kind of hard to look for male anchors here,
It's just-
right?
that is strange, isn't it? Now that
But
you asked the question.
right, but sports definitely a lot of you guys are around. A lot of men do the newscasting and the news anchoring of sports. We have Andre, we have Charles, and then we have someone also. We have Paui, who's also doing a
Pawi,
very good
yeah,
job.
who came from our UAAP program.
Yeah, ang galing-galing
So
niya. She's a
so yeah,
natural.
she's
Yeah.
very natural, and I always tell her that even back in the day, I used to tell
Really?
her that. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm not making this up, by the way. We're on FB Live, so I can't lie.
Yeah.
I used to tell her that. Sometimes I think, just like what I said earlier, Pinky, I think sometimes you don't necessarily have to mentor people. Sometimes encouragement is big enough to
Yeah.
some people. I think from my experience, just like that story that I told you about, you saying, hey, you should join the show, it should be fun, you'd be good. That stuck with me because to me it's not mentoring yet. I would have wanted to, but it was encouragement. So I kind of also want to do the same for
Yeah.
for people
True.
who like started it, like in my world in sports. There are a lot of women in sports now, and a lot of them have started in the UAP, and they have done such great jobs in different fields even.
I totally agree with you. Sometimes, especially because you're the older one, and then the newer ones come in, and then you give them a compliment and you rally them on, and it means a lot to them.
Mm,
And it's a good thing because it feels like, well, number one, you're paying it forward, and you're at a point that you're a little definitely you're more senior than them,
right,
and then
right,
you see them so talented and so hardworking. The least you can do is tell them and
right.
compliment them, right?
And I think the most important part of that, if I may add, is that as long as you're sincere and you're not trying to get something out of it, you're not doing it because I don't know,
Because you want to kiss. Mm.
well, I wasn't thinking that. But I mean, yung parang bida, gusto mo lang bumida,
Gusto
gusto
mo
mo,
magpabida, yeah.
hindi naman kiss, picky naman.
Oo nga naman, oo. Or gusto
Like,
mo, you want to get into the good graces of these people.
or something
Yun.
like that, or
Oo.
mangungutang ka, or something like that.
Ikaw ba yung mangungutang sa bata?
Ang
Paano naman?
galing-galing mo, no? Galing-galing mo. Pautang naman, ano?
Oo,
Um,
pero totoo yun. I think that's the operative word is it has to be genuine. And I think in a lot of things that we do, you have to be sincere.
mm,
Because if you're not, sayang lang eh. I mean, why
right,
play that card? I
right,
really, I really don't get that. And
right.
I don't agree with that. I don't like, I guess, faking it.
Yeah,
I
right,
don't
right, right,
like people who are fake in
right.
general. So I believe in being sincere. Whatever you give out there comes back to you anyway, especially if it's true. and if it's sincere.
Hmm. I've always wondered, Pinky, for you or people like you who have been in the business long enough and have been senior anchors already, have done this for a long time and have been in crisis and have been, a lot of the things that have happened in the country or even internationally, with mental health being a top topic in the last few years, the awareness for it, anxiety, depression, and all that. You guys are surrounded with bad news every day to the point that you have to report it every day, repeatedly in a 24-hour news cycle. People like us, we can unplug. I don't want to watch this today. You know what I mean? With people like us, yeah, okay, we'll dive in for probably 2-3 days. We want to keep yourself informed, and then we have the option to unplug, which I've done in the last 3 months during this pandemic when it's all bad news. You know what? I'm not watching for the next 3 days,
Yeah.
whatever it is.
And I respect that.
Right.
Absolutely.
So my question is, how does it not affect people like you with everything? Because you don't have a choice. You can't unplug. You have to report. You have to dive in. You have to make that deep dive. You have to understand it. You have to report. And you have to sleep with these things and wake up to these things. How does that play with your head? And, in terms of the anxiety levels and the mental health part of it.
Wow. It's been such a part of my life that I feel it's so normal to hear good news, bad news. Doesn't really affect me as much, I would say. I can't really remember something that affected me so much, but there are certain news items, I guess, that can strike a core. That maybe from a personal experience, you read something, you say it in the news, and you realize it's something similar like that's happened to your life. So I think that more affects me because it reminds me of a painful experience, possibly, that is being relived. That's hard. But let's say, for example, when we talk about the pandemic now, I watch so much of the news on CNN, Philippines, GMA, ABS-CBN, CNN International. And what I do is, it's almost like, how do you say that? Like, you take out the best parts of it and learn from it.
Okay.
No, I don't really filter. It's almost as if the situation is so bad, I'm going to make sure I tell my family, I tell my friends that this is happening somewhere, so that you need to be more careful. Right. Something like that. It's almost like you use it to be able to inform them because they probably don't watch or read as much as you do.
Right.
I think that's what I try to pick up from this whole thing. Like, if there's something new that's confirmed, that's confirmed.
Hindi kuryente.
Hindi siya fake news or hindi ano. You tell them right away. So, for example, I know that in the beginning, my parents were very against this lockdown and all, and I kept explaining part of the vulnerable sector, this can happen to you. So what I did was, I didn't see them for 3 months. I think I refused to see them because I wanted to be an example to them that you are part of the vulnerable sector, and I'm not going to be responsible for, because I act like I have the virus. That's how you're supposed to act.
I love that line. I was just talking to a friend of mine the other night, saying that that's how we should kind of act right now. Like, I didn't see my mom for a month also as soon as I flew back. I bought stuff, groceries and all that for supplies, but I never saw her. I never came close to her. And because I wanted to act like I had it. You never know. Sorry to interrupt you, but I just wanted to say that's an important thing.
But that's so true. Imagine, can you live with that guilt if you found out that your parents got sick and you were possibly the carrier? I know that's not the intention, but of course, it's just best to be careful. Of course, it doesn't save you or me from the virus, definitely, but you're just kind of saving the people who are older than you.
Right. Right.
because you'll never know. So yeah, that's
Well, good for you that you don't get affected from a mental, emotional, anxiety standpoint. But I think that comes with
no.
probably your years, or maybe it's a personality thing. Maybe you're ultra confident. You always struck people as an ultra confident woman. Have you always been like that? Were you ever awkward when you were young? Were you ever,
I was a guy when I was young.
were you? I want to hear about this. What do you mean? What was Pinky Web before
I think I was
Pinky Web?
very tomboyish because
Really?
I
Like
had
how?
4 brothers.
That's true.
So and then me. So I used to play with them a lot. So we
Right.
would I don't know, play
Competitive.
that time, the games of the 70s, cops and robbers, hide and seek, stuff like that, and we'd swim in the pool. So I was very competitive, thinking that I could beat them, and in fact I really couldn't anyway do that. But eventually, just tomboyish in that sense, very competitive and hanging out with the boys who probably didn't like me anyway. My brothers probably didn't want to hang out with me, but
So
I
would you
still kept hanging out with them.
so would you consider yourself spontaneous? You have a spontaneous side, you have a let go, let loose side. You're not as always composed on TV as you are in real life when the cameras are off, or you are.
I'm not spontaneous, and I
A
should
planner?
be.
You're a planner, you're a
I'm
systematic
such,
person. Is that what you
yeah,
are?
I'm such a
Really?
planner. Yeah.
So I was right
I'll,
with that impression.
but I
When was
want to
the
be spontaneous.
when was the last time you were spontaneous? Other than you finally deciding to get a drink 3 minutes before the show. That doesn't count, Pinky Web.
Spontaneous. I don't know. I don't remember. Oh,
That long. Okay.
one day I just wanted to go hiking,
Okay.
and I
Good.
didn't have anyone to go hiking with, so I forced my friend. But I know that evening I wanted to go hiking. I didn't know where. I was sure I wanted to hike. So I called my friend and I said, "What are your plans tomorrow?" Bait ka pa.
Wow,
What are your plans
tomorrow!
tomorrow? Yeah, morning. Pero this is gabi na. And then my friend said, it was Chari. She said, wala. I said, okay, may plano na tayo. I'm gonna meet you at 8 a.m. And then inutusan ko pa, look for a
Wow.
place where we can hike there in Batangas. Yeah. If that's
Hindi-
spontaneous, I guess
Yeah, I mean,
that
I
was
was
the last time.
expecting, ano plano mo next week? Hindi tomorrow tomorrow. That's
Ganyan.
good. That was good, but that
Yeah.
was a long time ago. It hasn't happened since.
No.
Not really?
Maybe 6 months ago.
That's good. It's good
Hey,
enough.
come on, we were on lockdown. We're still
Good
on
enough.
lockdown
Yeah,
for
good
three.
enough.
It's been
Good
three and a
enough.
half months. So not
Did
so
you?
bad.
Yeah. Did you ever consider show business? Was that ever a thing? Was there ever an
No.
offer?
No.
Really? Not the
There was never an
entertainment.
offer. No.
Really?
But
You-
I used to guest in I was part of like a children's show when I was young.
Oh, okay.
Siyempre,
Okay.
children's, diba? Yeah.
Right. Okay, I promised. We have a few minutes left with Pinky
Okay.
Webb, the host of The Source on CNN Philippines. Oh
We
my
have
God,
2 minutes left,
she's
guys.
so relieved. Oh, 2 minutes. Don't mind that. My boss is listening. He's enjoying himself right now. He's a big fan, and he'll give us a
Hi.
few more minutes. Don't get rid of me that quick. I have a couple of questions I want to ask.
Okay.
I said I wasn't going to do research on you because this wasn't that kind of conversation, right? But accidentally, Pinky,
Accidentally. Okay.
while I don't be too scared. While I was trying to tag you for an Instagram post that I was making, so I was tagging you because I posted about our show twice, and then I saw some other things. Do you realize that you have fans clubs? Do you
Just
realize
one.
that? No. I wrote it down. This is the only research that I ever did for you. Pinky Web Fanatics Official. The Pinky Websters. Pinapawisan ka, no? Pinapawisan ka. Pinky Webnatics.
I think they're just.
And the Pinky Web Fans Official. May official pa
Okay.
because sorry na lang sa mga hindi official. Kami yung official. I mean, how does this feel? You're a news anchor.
No. It started way
Thousands of
back.
followers.
No. It started way back in ABS, and they've just stayed with me until now. Pero pakonti sila ng pakonti.
I love how you downplay it. Classic.
Yeah, but I'm very they're very nice. I'm very thankful to them. And sometimes they even do a screenshot of
You
the
did.
source or
They did.
balitaan, which they
I
send to
watched
me,
it.
and
I
then
saw it. I saw everything.
I just add it to my story. So they're very patient, and I appreciate that a lot. And once a year, I think we see each other for Christmas
Do
or my
you?
birthday or something like that.
Oh,
Parang
that's
ganon.
great. So
Mm-mm.
like an artista talaga. You have
No,
at
no,
least.
no.
No, I mean, but you meet with them. That's what they do, right?
Yeah, yeah.
That's awesome. I'm not sarcastic. Huh? I mean that.
No,
That's good. That's good
no.
of you. That's good of
You
you.
never struck me as being sarcastic. So yeah,
Thank you.
that's
Thank
nice
you.
of them.
Before the whole news thing, were you what industry were you in? Were you in the hotels?
No, I applied. They didn't
All right.
accept me.
Really? Yeah. Don't you find it strange that I found out about that?
That's a funny story, Boom. I wanted to be in the hotel industry. There are two things I wanted to do: to be in the
Okay.
hotel industry and to do the news, because I wanted to be like my sister who traveled a lot. She was in the hotel industry, so I applied in this hotel in Makati. We were three candidates, and we went through the whole. I think it was a 2 day. Parang yeah, we had to apply, and we were there for 2 days. It taught us the ins and outs, the ropes, and all that. And then they said, "Okay, thank you. We will call you
Mm,
to let you know who we're getting among the three of you."
right. Right.
Wow, I was really waiting. I remember I was in my parents' condominium waiting and waiting for that phone call. Wala pa atang cellphone nun eh. And finally, I was told, Pinky, somebody from this hotel. And then I was so happy because I thought they called me to tell me that they were getting me. They called me to tell me that they were not getting me,
Oh wow! But how
which is
nice of them, though.
exactly, which is so nice of them. But when you were young, you're thinking you're getting a
Yeah.
call because they chose you,
True.
right? And I thought they were gonna choose me, but they didn't. But
You
that's
know why
okay.
I asked that question?
Why?
I
Did you
again,
hear
I did
that
not.
story?
I did not do research. No, no, no. My mom, for some reason, swore that she kind of worked for you or worked with you in the sense that you handled her account in a said hotel. So she said, I knew.
Hmm.
Yeah, I remember when I
That's
told her,
my
oh,
sister.
yun pala
That's not
yun.
me. Yeah. I never
Okay.
worked. They didn't get me.
So my mom's watching and listening. So there you go. She said na parang pinky yata yun eh. But there you go. So there
No.
was a connection though, that because you wanted to be part of the hotel
Yes,
industry.
yes. I'm sure she's talking about my sister because she was there for a number of years.
Did you ever consider politics?
Never.
Wow,
I
really?
never did. I
But
never
your
did.
family wanted you? Is that what it is?
No, I mean, I never did, but it doesn't mean that I will never consider it in the future. I don't know what the future holds. So I'm not saying I'm
Right,
also thinking about it now. But
right,
ano yan yung
right.
ayaw mo magsalita ng tapos? That's me. So
Correct,
I don't.
correct.
But did I think about it before? Did I consider? Was I asked? Yes, but I didn't.
Okay. One last question. You remember your first time on TV? How good was it? How horrible was it? How was that experience? Do you ever remember your first time on TV?
Has to be with ABC5.
Was it really?
Yeah, I
Talaga?
was doing
Yun na ba?
advisories. Alam mo yung mga 2-minute advisories?
Right.
Yeah.
I did that. I did that for ANC. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hourly advisories.
Yeah. Well, back
Yeah.
then it was like every 2 hours. I think we had it at 1, 3, 5, 7, and 9, something like
Okay.
that. And I was only doing two advisories in a day. And I think I was only working 3 times a week. Parang ganon.
So that was your first
Um,
time. ABC5 na?
mm-mm.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Interesting.
sila ba? Yeah, it was ABC5 first. Yeah. Yeah, but I don't really remember the first day. I do remember that I was very, very, very nervous.
young, and nervous, right?
You
I
know how the
bet.
studio is cold? You're
Yeah,
colder
yeah.
than the studio.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Because not only is the studio cold, but you're super like nervous, so it adds
Nervous.
to it. Yeah, it adds to it. Yeah, I remember. I lied. One more question. When was the last time that you actually drank too much. When was the last time Pinky Webb was drunk out of, fun with friends or whatever? Do you remember?
I'll tell you one thing, okay?
Okay, game.
I can drink if I want to.
Oh, you drink like a fish? Is that what it is?
No, not really, but I'm not. Yeah, I can drink, but not so much, but not also so little.
Not,
I mean,
okay.
I can drink above average, I would say,
Okay.
but you will never catch me drunk. You know why?
You're so conscious about.
I have mastered myself. But, pwedeng pumalya ha, but I know that when I'm about to get drunk or
Right.
I'm going to pass out or
Right.
I don't know what I'm doing anymore, I always
Right.
go home. So I always leave people wherever I am, especially if
Right.
I'm just in a bar near the house.
With a driver,
I do a
of course.
French. Yeah.
With a driver, of
Or
course.
my boyfriend, yeah.
Or
So,
boyfriend, that's right.
Hindi ako papayag na you'll see me drunk. When I reach that point, I have to go home. And you can't stop me.
Escape, nawala na si Pinky.
Escape artist, yeah.
Nawala na. Oh my God. You know what this interview, I hope, or this conversation, I hope, gave a lot of people there who have not seen this side of you, is that they see that side of you, that you're, laughing and, light, and you're spontaneous 6 months ago and all of these things. and I hope, I'm trying to phrase it the right way, that, because do you think you're intimidating to people, to men, to people in general, you think, right?
I think so.
And you don't care, you don't mind?
I don't care.
I love it. I love it.
No, I only say that because that's what people say about me. But what can I do if you're intimidated? All I know is that if I meet you and we get along, we're really gonna get along. And what you see is what you get with me.
And I lasted an hour and 6 minutes with you.
Over time.
It was a great conversation. I was not intimidated.
Definitely.
After the 50th minute, hindi na ako
after the third drink.
Pinky, cheers. Happy birthday to you.
Boom. Thank you so much. I enjoyed it, actually.
Yeah, I'll really take a sip.
I don't know when I'm going to do this again.
Well, if it is happening again, I hope it is with us or with me. So, there's a lot to talk about, but it's good to see you in this setting, and I know I'm going to see you like this on the source anyway. Catch her on the source. You wanna tell them what time do they catch you? I know it's
go boom. What time?
Like 10:30 in the morning.
Of course not. It's at 9.
No, it's not.
No, but there's a replay at 10:30.
Yun pala yun.
Wake up late. Yes.
I wake up late. Well, it's a pandemic, Pinky. I have the right to wake up late.
Giving you all the excuse.
Right. So I watched you, Ruth muna, diba? Ruth is the one before you.
Yes, at 10.
Yeah, I told you.
And then, my show is The Source, Monday to Fridays at 9 a.m. And then I have a Tagalog newscast at 12 noon, Balitaan from 12 to 12:30. Sometimes it's 12 to 1 if presidential spokesperson Harry Roque has the press briefing. We extend to 1 o'clock.
And if he actually hears you.
Which happens every Monday, Tuesday, Thursday. Yeah, so we carry the briefing of the presidential spokesperson.
Right. I can see that. Pinky, this is an absolute pleasure. Thanks for having a drink with me. Thanks for entering the chat room. And
Thank you, Boo.
I hope you're very welcome. And I hope you stay safe, stay healthy, and keep this spontaneous thing going every 6 months if you can. Thank you, Pinky Webb, guesting here on the chat room.
Bye, Boom. Thank you. Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Bye, everybody. We'll talk to you next week here on the chat room. Bye-bye.